Hey, James, let's talk about ransomware. One thing which I noticed is there is no silver bullet for this. You can't just kill ransomware, right? It's a virus. It evolves. And the only protection, the only proper protection is in the layers. How many layers you put between yourself and the attacker, that's how much protection you'll get. And layer 0, if you like, is education. Just educating your customers, antivirus upgrades, these type of things, but also isolation from network perspective, right?
Yeah.
And this is something I think Nutanix does a great job at, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. On the protection side, we have I would say features, capabilities, to help customer protect. I have example of customer who were infected, and we were able to isolate the ransomware, the virtual machines applications that were infected. And obviously, when you're not infected, you can protect from the outside
Yep.
by our features, but also using our ecosystem to reinforce this. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Nutanix Flow is really good about this isolation. And, then you talk about data protection and how to isolate or what are the layers on top of all of this. So one thing which is interesting about HYCU is it's a Linux-based appliance and it's really locked down Linux-based appliance. So this really helps. You want to, data protection tool itself, you want to really keep it unpenetratable. Another thing which is funny is upgrades, and this is where Nutanix and HYCU both can really help because we make sure that upgrade is really simple and fast, right? And if it's not, then what customers are doing is they're lagging between the upgrades. And because of this, they're actually not using the latest security patches, and it's a big problem.
Yeah.
Another layer is also additional protection, which, everybody knows about 3-2-1 policy in the backup side. But what we can do with HYCU and Nutanix is the fourth copy where we can keep Nutanix snapshots. But then one of the most important layers, I'd say, is keeping the targets, the storage, really air-gapped, meaning only one account on special network can access this storage. And then on top of this, if you have worm-enabled storage, that's probably one of the most important layers as well. And this is where Nutanix objects come into play, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So going back to what you said, there are multiple layers. So in our core AOS, we have features that are protecting our, the application and the virtual machine that are running. And then on top of that, we have features for the data protection. For example, when you have a database, you can protect this database, and then you can recover from it directly with some of our features, or in combination with the HYCU. Both of them, can work, are important to have. And obviously, and obviously, when we are talking about storage, for example, object storage, we can configure buckets and enable worm basically to protect and prevent.
Exactly. Not even Nutanix support can help delete these if you're using worm. So yeah, anyway, this really Nutanix objects and HYCU running on top of them. If anybody ever looked for a HYCU hardware appliance, that's what Nutanix objects and HYCU would actually bring. And there's much more layers as well, from detection perspective, and how HYCU can help with detecting that something is on the fly, getting changed, more changes than anticipated, with testing in the sandbox environments. And one thing which I noticed a lot of times with the attacks which we help to our customers, you protect against all of these. You have all the layers, but you should never forget about one layer, an inside job or yourself. So you need to protect against this as well. And HYCU helps also with something we call software worm and additional functionalities to protect against yourself, if you like.
Yeah, I agree. And for me, there are multiple things that we need to consider is how are we being attacked? How do we protect? And it's not only, I would say, in the core infrastructure. Just talk about the remote users. Today, remote users are a source of infection for ransomware. And what I see, with this world where we are working more and more from anywhere, we need to think differently about accessing to the data, to the data center remotely. I see a lot of customers just using VPN. They think that this is enough, but we see a high, increase in the number of attacks. And there are ways, to protect your users and the data of your users, like just having a remote virtual desktop, that will just do a
Exactly.
remote view of your desktop, but you're protecting your data and you're preventing them from infecting the data center. So I think there are, we need to help our customers, see the full picture of how we can protect from the users directly, from the data once they're infected, how do they recover from it?
Exactly.
And I really see a good combination between HYCU and Nutanix.
Definitely. Stay safe, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.